right, continuing right along as we left off with Lesson 7, Prefix Quiz number 1. We are in Lesson 7, Prefix Quiz number 2. Here is what we're going to do, just a basic continuation of what we did in quiz number 1. We're going to go through every two, pause the video, and then make a loose definition based upon the words that we're going to see here. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 1 says, read the following words and create a definition for the following prefix. Anti. Once again, we want to have a fairly general or loose definition based upon the words that you see here. I have tried to select some words, 2 or 3 that are really common that most kids will know, and then over here usually the last 2 are going to be ones that are vocabulary words that we're not familiar with. Based upon the words that we know, we can assume and create a new definition for the words that we don't know. Remember, prefix is the beginning of the word, and the middle of the word, for example, here is called the root. Let's go ahead and get started. I'd like you to take a look at problem 1 and 2. Pause the video here. When you come on back, I'll give you answers and explanations to 1 and 2, and then we'll continue on to get through the rest of the prefixes. Go ahead, pause the video now. All right, number 1, read the following words and create a definition for the following prefix, anti. We always start with a root word. The root word here is social. We know what that means. That means hanging out with your friends, talking, communicating. That is the root word. When we put the prefix on the front, anti, that makes it the opposite. Antisocial means you don't want to hang out with your friends. You want to be alone. So prefix anti is going to suggest the opposite. It's going to flip it. War, we all know what that is. Fighting. Anti-war means we want to do the opposite. We don't want to fight. Anti, once again, is going to flip the direction. We look over here. Anti-inflammatory. If you look at the root word, inflammatory or inflame means hot, like a flame. Inflammatory means something when you hurt your knee, you get a bruised knee, you get all swollen. That's inflammation. When we put the prefix anti on the front, it's something that you would do to get rid of the inflammation. Maybe you'd put ice on it. Maybe you'd take some Tylenol. Tylenol or paracetamol, those are drugs that would help for inflammation, and they're called anti-inflammatories. Over here, anti-authoritarian. Authoritarian, we break that root word down. Authoritarian becomes authority, like the principal or the police, and they're in charge of keeping things in order. When you put the prefix on the front, anti, it becomes people, anti-authoritarian, people that want to go against authority. Make a loose definition, it's going to flip it to make it into the opposite of the root word. Number 2, read the following, create a definition for the word auto. Well, pretty straightforward here. Right away, when I say auto, you think car. Automobile. A mobile is a vehicle, and when you put auto on the front of it, it's a vehicle that operates and goes by itself. You get in, turn the key, and it drives. Automatic. It goes by itself. Autobiography. Now, let's start making this term nice and loose. A biography is when you write a book about something. An autobiography is about yourself. So how do we make a loose definition? Automobile and autobiography. Auto means automatic, but also it means automatically doing something with yourself. Automotacity. The root word here is motacity. Motile, it means movement. Auto, put in the front, means to do it by yourself automatically. Automotacity, moving by itself. You see what we just did here? We open this up nice and loose. Auto means automatic, but it means a little bit more than that. It means automatically doing it yourself. Make a nice loose definition here for number 2. Moving right along, we're going to go into 3 and 4. Go ahead, pause the video here. Come on back with the answers and explanations in a moment. Welcome back. We're in number 3. Read the following and create a definition for the prefix contra. Start with the root word contrast. Well, when you contrast something, you're going to go opposite of what you just said. Contradict. Contradict is going to go opposite of what you just said previously. You see, a lot of these prefixes do pretty much the same thing. They're just different options. Contrapositive. We have something that's positive when we look at the root word, and when we do the contrapositive, we will do the opposite, flipping backwards. Contraband. Contraband means something that is going against the law. It's going opposite. It's flipping back, going the opposite. On to number 4. Number 4, read the following and create a definition for the prefix inter. Here are the words intersection, interweave, interbreed, and intergalactic. Always start with a root word, section. And now we have an intersection, kind of like a T. When you're at the intersection, you're inside or in between the different sections. Interweave. When you weave two things together, it's going to be in between them. Interbreed, we're going to take two different types of dogs, and we are going to interbreed them and make a new mix. Snickerdoodle. Take two different breeds, mixing them. Intergalactic, you have two galaxies. Intergalactic would mean in between. It might be some of this, it might be some of that. Sometimes you're here, sometimes you're there. Inter, make a loose definition for the prefix inter. Let's go ahead, pause the video here. We'll come on back with problem 5 and 6. Problem number 5, create a definition for the prefix bi. We have bicycle, bikini, bisect, and bird. Start with bicycle. Bicycle has bi in front. It is, of course, something that has two wheels. Bikini. A bikini is a two-piece, top and a bottom. Bisect. We're going to take a line and we are going to bisect it. Cut it in two so you have two pieces. Bird starts with bi. What do you know about a bird that has two? That's right, two wings. Bi suggests two. Let's move on to number 6. We're looking for the prefix macro. This is something that we might not be familiar with. The 4 words that we see here are macronutrients, macroeconomics, macroscopic, and macroevolutionary. First things first, nutrients is like vitamins and minerals. And when we put macro in front of it, this is something we just have to commit to memory. Macro means large, the full gamut. Macronutrients would be big, full, hearty macronutrients. Macroeconomics. It's not small economics, it's big. Macroscopic. We know what microscopic means. That's one of the prefixes we'll see here soon. But macroscopic means the opposite. Micro means small. Macro means big. Macroevolutionary. We know what evolution means. Macroevolutionary would mean big, big changes. Macro, commit to understanding, means large. Let's go ahead, pause the video here. We'll come on back. We'll take a look at the next 2, 7 and 8. Number 7, create a following definition for the prefix micro. We've mentioned this earlier in number 6. Microorganism. Microscope, microchip, and microwave. Micro means small. Macro, large. Micro, small. Here is the root, organism, like a cell, and a microorganism means a small cell. Microscope. A scope is something that you look through. Microscope, something that you look through and you see small stuff. Microchip in a computer, it's very small. It's a small chip. Microwave. A wave is something in physics. A microwave is a very small wave. What does that have to do with cooking? Inside the microwave, there are little waves, tiny waves, that radiate the food. Say you have like a chicken or something in here. The waves would penetrate in and cook the food from the inside. Let's take a look at number 8. Create a definition for the following prefix. Mono. Here are the 4 words. Mono versus stereo. Monogenetic, monopoly, and carbon monoxide. First things first, we'll start off with the easiest, most common one. We know that we have stereo and mono. Stereo means we're going to hear stuff through 2 speakers. Have you ever had a set of earbuds and one of the speakers goes out, the cord gets broken, and all of a sudden you can only hear through one ear? That would be stereo is 2. Mono means 1. Monogenetic. Genetic is the root. Mono means 1. Monopoly. You've heard of the game Monopoly. Your goal is to win and own all the property. If you win and own all the famous property, like Park Place, you are one person. You have a monopoly. 1. Carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide. It's 1 oxide with the carbon attached to it. Remember, start with a root word. Try and relate this back to the real world, other words that sound similar that you've heard before, and then look at the prefix and try and memorize the 22 different prefixes that we have. And once you do that, you'll be able to break the words down. When you get to tests and quizzes, and you get to the standard end of the year MCAs in school, you're going to be tested on vocabulary, so it's important that you have some background to break down words that you don't know. Using the prefix concept here, we're going to be able to understand words that we've never seen before just because of the prefix in the beginning. Let's move on. We're going to take a look at 9 and 10. Pause the video here. Come on back in a minute. Number 9, read the following words and create a definition for the prefix add. Here we have additive, adverb, admission, advertise. We come over here and we see an additive. You see that ADD, you already know what that means. 1 plus 1 is adding them together, putting them together. When you're going to add an additive to some soup, you're going to add it to the soup. An adverb is something that modifies the verb. You're going to add to the meaning by adding an adverb. Admission, you're going to be admitted into college. It's a positive word. You're going to be added into the pool of college students. Advertise. When you advertise, you're going to take information and give it, add it into the public's understanding of what your product involves. Add means to add it in. Pretty straightforward on this one, number 9. Let's move down to number 10. In number 10, read the prefix and make a loose definition for the prefix post. P-O-S-T. Here are the 4 words: post-game, posted, postgraduate, and post-millennial. Post-game, the root word is game. Post-game means to see something after the game. Maybe have some kind of a show, maybe have an interview or something like that. After the game. Posted. When you post something, it's already up. When it's posted, it's already been up. It's something that's done after. Postgraduate. When you graduate from college, you decide you want to go into graduate school. That is considered postgraduate work. It's after your graduation. Post-millennial. Millennial or millennium is the root word. Post-millennial would be meaning after the millennium. Post, once again, means after. Let's go ahead, pause the video here. We'll take a look at problem 11 and 12 next. Number 11, create a definition for the following prefix, trans. Here are the four words: transmit, transfer, transport, and transcontinental. Transmit. You're going to transmit a signal from here to there. It suggests movement. Transfer. You're going to transfer from one college to the next. Suggests movement again. Transport. A bus transports you from point A to point B. Suggests movement again. Transcontinental. You have the continent of the United States. And transcontinental would mean going from one part of the country to the other. It suggests movement. Trans suggests movement. Number 12, read the following words and create a definition for the prefix tri. Here are the four words: tricycle, triangle, tripod, and trident. The first word, tricycle. Cycle suggests like a bicycle. Tricycle has 3 wheels. 1 in the front and 2 in the back means 3. Triangle, 3 sides in a triangle. Tripod, a tripod looks like this for a camera. It has 3 legs. And a trident looks like this, a devil's pitchfork. Tri means 3. There you have it. It is quiz number 2, lesson 7, prefix. My suggestion for you kids here, once again, quiz number 1 and quiz number 2. Go in, get some 3x5 note cards from Professor Thomas. On the front, you want to write the prefix here, trans. On the front of the card, in the upper left or right-hand corner, label the card so you know what the card is. This card is going to be a prefix, so just simply write prefix up here, and that would be the front of the card. On the back of the card, write your definition and make some notes in here. Trans means transportation. It means movement. Some kids like to label on the front of the card the number. This is prefix card number 1. Collect all of your prefixes for words that you know and words that you don't know. Just put them in a stack. Get one of those little mini sandwich bags from Professor Thomas. Keep them and go through, look, learn, and use these as we go through the program. You're going to be doing quizzes. There are about 40 quizzes, and you are going to run into vocabulary words that you are not familiar with. Once you know these prefixes, it's going to be a lot easier for you to understand the meaning of those words. Once again, why do we need to know prefixes? Quizzes, tests, MCAs, ACT, test vocabulary. Teachers love testing vocabulary. If you don't know the word, which is going to happen, but you know the prefix, you will be able to understand the meaning and get the correct answer. That's it for now. It is Professor Thomas checking out with you. We'll see you in lesson number 8. Bye for now.